All right, what we're going to do is get this rod inside this master cylinder and make sure that there is enough gap in there once it's installed. Right now, putting it on there, there's a gap right there, and we had 2 spacers there, but now we're making sure that that's enough space, because we don't want the rod to be touching the wall of the master cylinder, because it could apply pressure, which would be brake pressure, while we're driving. So we're going to measure. Craig S. on the forum said to measure the depth of this rod and then measure the depth inside here, and then give yourself a little bit of room. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so by the way, thank you, Craig S., for that recommendation. Thanks for all the recommendations on the forum. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to measure out to this silver flange here, because I believe that that's what rests in here against some of these ribs. So what I have is a good estimate of 120, about 120 depth, 121. Okay, these are the ridges right here that I'm going to measure to, because I believe that that silver ring lines up against there. And we'll measure how far out this comes from those ridges. All right, from the flange to the tip of here, I've got 177. All right, and these 2 spacers come to 370. Sorry, there, you can see it, about 370. All right, so 177 minus 120, and then 370 the spacers. We still have about 200 thousandths that we need to accommodate. So that rod should be hitting that back wall of that master cylinder. So we need to either shim the master cylinder out farther, or thread that rod in a little bit so that we can not touch the wall. But 200 thousandths, I'm not sure if we have 200 thousandths. Well, yeah, we could do it right in there. But we also want to have another 100 thousandths so of gap. So we want a total of 300 thousandths spacer. So we may put another, 300 thousandths of adjustment. So let's see, what is this extra spacer? It's about 180, 175. Okay, to be sure that I've got the right distance, I'm going to do this again, measure twice, and I'm going to go from this back wall in here up to this black flange, and then I'm going to measure the black flange up to this as well, to add those 2 together and get the true depth. Make sure I'm getting the right depth. Okay, the distance from down below to that black is 1,350. And the distance from the black up to the silver is about 143 thousandths. Okay, I misspoke. It wasn't 1,350, it was 135 thousandths, and then 1 0.143, that was correct. So those two add up together to 1.178, and we had 1.20. So we were pretty close. And so those calculations are pretty close. So we do need a spacer in there. And with the new number, we have getting closer to a 1/4 inch gap that we're going to need a 1/4 inch spacer. All right, so we got a problem. If we put on 3 spacers, this nut isn't going to, we don't have any threads. So we got to make it work with 2 spacers. So we're going to have to adjust that rod. So here's what I don't understand is it fits on there. It's closed up on there. So what is that rod hitting in there? Is it hitting anything? Are my measurements wrong?